and welcome. It's been a little while since I've just taken a pause, flipped through my journals, kind of assessed with you all how things are going in this little journaling system. So I thought today would be a great time to do that. We can flip through some of the journals I've been working in. As you can see, my attempt to simplify my system didn't pan out quite as I expected, but I've been really excited about some of these books. So this is what springtime has been looking like for me. I'm still using my sort of past, present, future format where I've got books to document what has happened, books for working on projects as they come along, and then planners for figuring out what comes next. So I am going to set a few of these books aside so that we have the space to flip through some of these pages. So this is my daily log journal, sort of a place where I can just document what has happened each day. I'll give you a little flip through, see if there's anything new going on in here. I don't think so. But we have my monthly spreads where I'm doing just a tiny summary of what's happened during the day, maybe add a sticker that sort of represents anything that I was doing on any given day. So I've got that all updated for April, and then we're working on getting May up to date here. And then you can skip to these weekly pages. I believe this is where we left off, so it's been a little while since I've flipped through this. And this has been a great little space to just fill in a little daily summary of what happened during the day. I like being able to flip back through journals and just seeing, on this day 5 years ago, what was I doing? What was I up to? What did life look like? So that's been sort of what I've been keeping up with. And then if there's space on this right-hand page, I add in a bit more of a deep dive into something that was happening that week, such as this week we were wrapping up our long-term D&D campaign, which was very bittersweet, but I wrote a bit about how that was going. Then we have the week of Valentine's Day. I don't know what happened here. I must have been drinking water and a drip fell onto the page or something. It doesn't bother me quite so much here, but the ink bleed is really bad here. Kind of drives me nuts because I love how the rest of the spread turned out. I still need to do some journaling here. Well, I say I'm going to do some journaling. I still have some empty pages from last year's journal that I said I was going to go back and fill in, and I simply haven't. So we'll see. I'm not going to put too much pressure on it, but I do love the little Valentine's theme that I got going on here. We've got a horizontal spread. I've been having fun doing these sometimes. If I don't think there's going to be anything in particular to do a deep dive on, I just give myself a little bit more space to stretch out my daily summaries. And of course, I've got lots of little bits of ephemera from throughout the week spread out. This was the week after Valentine's Day, so we got some chocolates on clearance, so I used some of the labels off of that packaging as little decorations in my journal. Let's see. Another just average week. I didn't really have anything to write about, but I did want to practice my drawing. I've been really, really working on practicing quick drawing. I know I can be a little bit perfectionist when it comes to making art. So I did a little sketch of the half-price books that we went to that week. I loved bringing all of the colors together on this spread too. So much fun. We have the week of our wedding anniversary. So I've got, a few little stickers here, but I took some time to journal a bit more about that on this page. I had a misprint of one of our wedding photos that I stuck in here, as well as this is a cutout from a magazine. I've been loving magazine cutouts lately. And what I wrote about, it was actually a little perfect because the article that this came from, the title was Romantic Reminiscence, which was perfect for what I wanted to write about. Every year on our anniversary, we go to dinner and we will talk about what our favorite memory from the past year was. So I wrote a little bit about that tradition, and then I included our lists. I like to keep those somewhere, either in a journal or a scrapbook or something, so that every year I can look back and see what we decided was the most exciting parts of our year together. Just some more everyday journaling. Something I've been enjoying adding, you might have noticed on previous pages, is my subscriber count here on YouTube. I think that's been fun to watch it grow, see how many friends we've got gathering in this community. I also have this beige circle was from some IKEA packaging. We'd gotten a new desk chair, and on the packaging there's this little dot to indicate what color you're getting in your package, and this was just a little dot showing that we were getting a beige chair. I added some lemonade stickers on it. And this week I had just finished reading Ongoingness by Sarah Manguso, which is a very interesting book detailing her sort of ebbs and flows in her journaling practice. But one passage that really stood out to me, she noted, "In my diary, I recorded what had changed since the previous day. But sometimes I wondered, what if I recorded only what hadn't changed? Would that be a better, truer record?" And I used that as a prompt to sort of bounce off of. I went in and responded to what she posited, and then I experimented with it. I wrote all of the things that have stayed the same in my everyday life that maybe haven't gotten documented because it's just felt the same for so long. So I loved using that as a prompt, and now I have sort of a detailed everyday experience documented here to look back on. Might not be the same in a few years, and now I have that all documented. I've got another week that I didn't get any extra documentation done, but I do love the little bits of ephemera I was able to tuck in here. It was the week of St. Patrick's Day, which I don't do anything to observe, but I had this clover sticker that I loved. Little bits from eating out. This is a label off of a dog toy. This is from a coupon for an ice cream place we went to. And this week I got to go to a book tour stop for Counterweights by Shannon Martin, and I have been loving this so much. I dove into it the day that I got it, but I have been struggling. I had to take a pause because I was debating so much whether I wanted to annotate, because there have been passages in here that I adore, but I'm already so cautious with annotating, and it's something I'm trying to get over. But this is a copy that I got signed and personalized, so like if I mess it up, I super can't get a replacement because it's one of a kind. But also I think part of my problem with annotation is that like it makes the book no longer new, so I can't, pass it along. But I don't plan on passing this along. I don't plan on ever reselling this or gifting it because this one's mine. It's specifically for me, so like, shouldn't that make it easier to annotate? I don't know. I've been loving it so much, I just need to hype myself up to actually be able to annotate in here. But I got to write a bit about going to see the author speak and going to the book signing. I got to meet other readers in person. That was a lot of fun. So I got to write all about that experience in this extra space. And then of course I've got, my sticker from my burger order, a sticker from the chair that we got and got all set up. Lots of fun. The week of Easter, I didn't have anything in particular that I was ready to journal about here, so that's still blank. We'll see if I ever come back to fixing that up. But other than that, just a very happy springtime spread. Loving that. Another little springtime spread. I've got a sticker from my coffee. Lots of just bits and bobs talking about what my days looked like. I love how this page has turned out. I love all the colors going on. I love all the little bits of life I have tucked throughout here. So much fun. This page, I had a very large piece of ephemera that just so happened to fit very nicely in here. Carson had ordered some new t-shirts, and one of them came in this big plastic pouch. So as soon as he took the shirt out, I was like, I'll be taking that piece of garbage real quick and gluing that in here. I thought the design was really cool, and I like the transparency going on here, but it also worked out very nicely because this was the week that he got LASIK surgery done. So the big eyeball kind of actually is relevant. So I have little glasses here to mark that day. It had been really hot this week, so I had a little fan sticker that just so happened to perfectly match this green. A little wastebasket, because I had a writing assignment that I kept getting edits back on, so I kept trashing the old drafts. So that kind of represents that. A few more little extra stickers. This was a magazine or a newspaper clipping. I don't remember. It just came out of my little junk pile. But again, it matched perfectly, and it worked great for a week that I was doing a lot of creative stuff. And then we come up on this past week, not any specific journaling going on, but we had rainy days, I got a package, we had a movie night, all sorts of little fun things going on. And then I've started this week, haven't gotten very far. At the beginning of the year, I was doing a great job doing my little daily summary right at the end of the day before bed. I was super on top of it. I was keeping up with my journal. These days, not so much. I've slowed down a little bit, so about once a week on average, maybe twice if I'm really on it, I am coming in here and adding in the summaries. I wish it was daily, but it's not that I'm not doing any writing on that day. It's just a matter of keeping up with this daily log. So I am really loving this book still. I love how it's turning out. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad I experimented with it, but I am, we're only a quarter of the way through the year, but I'm already thinking about, okay, do I want to try and maintain this again next year? Or do I want to shift how I do my documentation again? So I'm thinking about that as I am working my way through this book. But overall, very happy with this. I think this has been such a fun little book. And that moves us on to our next section of books. So we've got our past, present, future situation. This is documenting my past, and these are my living in the present books. So if you've been keeping up with previous videos, you will recognize this book. This is where I am doing just a lot of project stuff. I'm maybe writing a poem, maybe writing a to-do list to break down a project. See if I can figure out where I left off showing you some of this. This is just a draft of a poem that I had going through my head on a drive home one day, and I was like frantically trying to record it into my phone notes. Well, it was a mess. So I had to mostly like memorize it and jot it down as soon as I got home. But I didn't end up really doing any editing on that, so I might need to come back to that. I've got some notes for the scrapbooking video that I filmed a few weeks ago. Just sort of working on some projects, some free writing. I was just reading a memoir, and something the author had said just sparked this rabbit trail of ideas, so I just did a little bit of free writing about my own life. Maybe it'll turn into something, maybe it won't. More beginnings of poems that didn't really go anywhere. Before I archive this book, I really need to go back through and check if there are any like loose ends that I can wrap up, any little bits of something that still need a little bit of work. Maybe I could do something with. I've got a few essay ideas for if I were to start a Substack. That's been an idea that's been in the back of my mind for a couple of years now. I still haven't gotten around to it. I've been focused on videos and other writing projects, but who knows, maybe someday I'll start sharing some essays somewhere out there. I've got my notes from reading Ongoingness. I've got a whole bunch of excerpts and quotes, and then I've gone in and highlighted some of my favorites. Random thoughts, a random kind of terrible poem. This I want to hang on to. I had a book idea, because of course I did. I have also been reading Memories of Distant Mountains and really enjoying this because the author has all of these beautiful images of his illustrated notebooks, and I fell in love. I think this is so gorgeous. It has been inspiring sort of how I have been journaling recently, and I had this idea that I have so many notebooks from all throughout my life and just other ways that I have chosen to document my life, I would love to compile them into some sort of illustrated memoir, is the best I can think to phrase it, showing my old notebooks like that and writing about what was going on, how it was working into my journaling practice. I don't know. I've got sketches, I've got ideas and little things I could write about. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere, but it sounds so much fun. So we'll see. We'll see if I do anything with that. I went back and had read Joan Didion's On Keeping a Notebook, mostly to document how she goes about writing. I have been really interested lately in how different writers do what they do, how they keep a notebook, how they turn their ideas into something readable. So just keeping some notes on that. Kind of want to compile that into some sort of series about how different writers write. I started rereading The Artist's Way, so I have a few notes on that. I had borrowed it from the library, but I don't think there's any way I'm going to be able to keep the book long enough to go through the course, so I might need to ask for it for my birthday or something, because I do want to give it a fair shot. I read it years ago, applied nothing, and so I learned nothing. This time I want to read it and actually do something about it, so I've got some notes here. I've got an article assignment that I had gotten, so I started doing some brainstorming, a little bit of outlining, just some random thoughts on springtime. Some short video ideas. I've been really wanting to be sharing more about writing and journaling on here, but filming a video takes a while, and then so does editing, so just some ideas of what else I could be sharing on here to be hanging out in this space more often. I'll have some extra space. And then I watched a video recently with a list of life lessons that the creator had learned, and I was like, what would I put? That was it. Just what would I put on that list? Maybe I'll turn it into a video, maybe I won't. This is all just a big space to drop whatever ideas cross my mind. And I would love to tell you that I finished this book this spring, but I have not. My goal was to finish up this book so I could move into other books comfortably. I want to wrap up all of the loose ends that I've got going on in my journal system. I didn't do that. I have 5 pages left. So I need to push myself. I really want to push myself to finish this. I don't want it to feel unfinished in the back of my mind. So we are going to finish this book so that we can fully move on. However, that didn't stop me from starting a new notebook. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I was going to finish this other one, but I had a vision. I had a vision for what I wanted my next notebook to look like. So now I have a backlog of books I need to work through. So letting that be inspiration for actually sitting down and putting more thoughts on paper. So this is just a Leuchtturm softcover notebook. I've got a couple of adorable little art pins on here. I am loving that so much. But this is basically what this notebook is, combined with another notebook that I've shown once or twice. This is just my scratch paper notebook. I'm also trying to work through this, so it's not unfinished also. But I love the idea of moving sort of all of that into this one book, where I am just adding in any thought that comes into my mind. I had been looking on a house on a realtor website. I'm not ready to move right now, but I was imagining what I would do to the house, looking at all the listing pictures. So this is my my little sketch of what I would do to a house that I don't plan to ever own. I've got notes for our current D&D campaign. I've got a quote that I had really liked, home updates. I've got a sandwich I invented, garage sale stickers, all sorts of just stuff. A brain dump that I did, some Japan travel plans, and then I was like, I want to practice watercolor, so I painted the Traveler's Factory building in here. It's not great, but I'm working on it. I'm working on getting better. So I've got a space for adding in some of that now. Just some random thoughts that I had related to home decor content that I've been consuming. So I put in a beautiful magazine clipping in here and just added in a little journaling on that. More home design stuff. Just a place that can be sort of scratch paper or working on projects or what have you, whatever I feel like adding in that day. And I'm thinking that maybe once I finish out this year in the weeks, that maybe I will transition back into a more unstructured form of daily documenting, something that I don't feel like I have to keep up with, because a system like this has been really good for making sure I consistently document. I might not be doing it every single day, but I make sure that every day is documented, because I had been going through this dry spell of really just not wanting to journal every day. But my thought is, instead of focusing on daily summaries, that maybe in the future I will transition more into morning pages, the way that The Artist's Way presents them, because that is a practice of just doing a stream of consciousness, brain dump, whatever comes out sort of journaling as a daily practice. And you know what? If I miss a day, I don't need to catch up on it. So we'll see, because I do love having my days documented. I love being able to look back and see what I did on any given day. But that's also sort of what my scrapbook is for. I have a scrapbook where I have lots of photos and ephemeras and journaling. Ephemeras? That's not right. Oh well. But that's where I document my sort of my daily doings also. So I don't know that I need multiple places to keep a dutiful documentation. My journal could be more of a mental documentation, what's going through my mind right now, more so than what I'm physically doing every day. I don't know if any of that made sense, but that's sort of my journey right now, is thinking that's what I want to transition into as I wrap up all of these other books that I'm working on, is just a place to dump my thoughts like this, or a place to do something a little bit more creative if I feel like it, just depending on the day. It really shouldn't matter, which book, what everything is happening in, but for whatever reason, my brain does latch on to like, well, this book is for this, and this book is for this. I don't know. I think way too much about what goes into every book, and I want to not think about it so much, which is why I want to be simplifying into one book to just dump whatever into. So hopefully next time I talk to you, this book will be done and we'll be fully moved into slowly condensing into just a few books. That said, moving into my planning system, you'll see I have another book here too. I am not usually someone for having multiple planners, because props to anyone who can do it. My brain doesn't have the bandwidth to be flipping through multiple books at any given time to figure out what I need to be doing. I already feel so scattered. So we still have the Hobonichi Weeks. I'll give you a bit of a look as to how that's been going. Let's see, where did we leave off? Somewhere around here. I've got just little jotting down notes that I might only need once or twice throughout the week. And then I've got a rolling to-do list that stuck around for a little while. But then I started not copying it over so much, and I'll just refer back to whatever the most recent version was. And something like this, I've got downstairs tidy. My life felt like it was falling apart because the entire living room and kitchen were messy, so I just wrote down a list of, okay, here are the things that need to get done. It's okay, it's a manageable list. Life's not falling apart. I've got a list of videos that I really wanted to schedule, and I've started kind of adding in little flags on different days for when I'd love to get videos posted. As soon as I did that, I fell immediately behind, so I don't think I'm going to be able to follow that schedule to a T, which is why they're on sticky notes and not in pen. So yeah, those are some videos that I would love to upload sometime this year. I've got a big to-do list highlighted here. Just some writing ideas. I've got more running to-do lists, things I needed to go get on my emergency errand run, projects that I want to work on, more videos, more running to-do lists. I've got video notes. This was the video I filmed that week, so I just threw that in there. And then I don't really have color coding going on. I've got like highlighting important meetings or deadlines. And then I've been using red pen for like content related things. So that's this video right now. We'll see. You guys will know if that actually gets uploaded by Friday or not. We'll find out. But here's where we are right now, is me filming it. So I could actually cross that off. I do have terrible news. I had 2 of these because these were freebies that came with each of my planners. I completely lost one already. So they're now having to share one pen between these 2 books. Such is life. Here we are. So that's sort of what my planning has been looking like. Nothing super exciting, but it's effective. It's been so nice to have a space that I don't feel like I need to decorate either. And I can dump all of my chaos onto the page, but there's still structure. There's still enough structure to corral my mind. Sort of the right side is where I do my brain dump, and then the left side is where I sort that into something like actionable. So that's just my everyday planner. That's almost all of my life goes in here. However, I have started on a travel planner. I know I've mentioned a couple of times some plans to go to Japan later this year. And so I have started putting together a planner to keep that all in check and up to date. So I can give you a little tour of what it's looking like right now. I've got just a few little things tucked in here. I'm hoping that while we're there, I'll collect lots of little bits and bobs that I can tuck in here. But right now I do have a little sleeve to store my travel scissors. I think that'll be nice. I think they should be small enough that I can take them through the airport. We'll find out. Some sticky notes just to help with planning. Little Traveler's Factory card that I've got tucked in here. And then for the actual pages, I have a Traveler's Notebook folder from, I believe it was, 2025. I still don't have a Traveler's Notebook because I want to buy my first one on this trip. But I just fell in love with this folder and I thought, you know what? It'll be perfect. I added some plastic tab attachers onto here, and this is where I plan to tuck in receipts. Whenever we travel, I tend to be the receipt person. Everybody hands me their receipts and I keep them stored so that we can keep track of how much we're spending. So I think that'll be a perfect, quick little place to tuck receipts throughout the day. And then I have some sticker release paper where I've added in some washi for my journaling while we're there. This is just more things that I need to put in here at some point. And then a few more little bits of washi to go in my journaling. The reason these are on these pocket pages instead of the sticker release is for some reason my sticker release paper is like awful. You can see it immediately starts peeling up as soon as I put anything on there. So these are just gonna fall off right away. So we're working with what we've got in that sense, but luckily I was able to get these to stick down. So I've got an assortment. I put one of each pattern in here of all of these washies that I've got. I've got a couple of these postage stamp style washies from Onion Labs that are perfectly travel themed. I've got this one and then a Konbini themed one. And you know I plan on eating all of these delicious Konbini snacks. So I've got one of each stamp. I figured that would be more than enough because my hope is that most of my journaling will be with ephemera that I gather while I'm traveling. And then I've got these Traveler's Company washies as well that I cut and put onto there. Then I have a couple of pocket pages. You can see here, right now it's just holding gift cards for when we travel, but my hope is that these will be great little pockets for storing things as I collect them. You know, little brochures, tickets, what have you, can fit into these little pockets while I'm traveling and until they can find a proper home in my scrapbooking. I've got a couple of like to-do lists and to-buy lists that I haven't fully stuck in here yet. They're just kind of floating. And then I've got a map that I had cut out from an old atlas section of a dictionary. And I mostly just cut it out because I thought it would be cute. But then I thought, you know what? It might actually be kind of useful to be able to look at while we're traveling. I've been familiarizing myself with the different regions that we're going to, but it'll be nice to be able to look and see any given city that we'll probably be visiting on here. And then I downloaded some printable planner pages that are in the format of the Hobonichi Cousin pages for every day of the trip. And what I've done is go in to this little hourly section and divide out what we're gonna do on any given day. And anything that's like a specific reservation time or a time that we need to be somewhere, I've highlighted in yellow. Everything else is just sort of around this time is sort of when we need to be doing this to know that we're on track, but you know, it'll vary from day to day. And then in this extra space, I've just added in extra thoughts, things to keep in mind, but having it divided by time, I think is going to be really helpful to just see, okay, it's, 12 o'clock. This is about where we should be at this time. And, oh, is there anything I need to remember at that time? We'll see. We'll see how it works out. But this has been a project I've been working on, getting all of our travel plans onto paper so that it's finalized. This will also be a great place to be sticking like travel documents, any tickets that we need to print beforehand or anything. And initially, when I had this idea for this planner, I thought, okay, it will be great to get just a notebook like this, and that'll be my travel journal. And I will tuck it in to the back like that, and it'll be a nice little packet. Oops, I lost a charm. These charms are probably not going to be traveling with me because I will absolutely lose them. But for now, they're pretty, so I'm leaving them in here. Yeah, that was my initial plan, was to tuck a notebook in back here. But the more I think about it, the more I think I just want to use some of these blank pages. I got some dot grid pages. I think I kind of want to just travel journal in the back of this. I feel like this will take off some of the pressure too of trying to make a perfectly curated journal while I'm on the go and my brain is in a million different directions and I'm trying to take in all of this new information. If I mess up a page, I can just take it out, toss it, move on to the next page. Or if I forget something, I can add in a little extra page or a little extra insert to correct anything that I missed. Because my goal is to make this something that I journal in as I'm on the go. I know a lot of people will travel journal when they get home from a trip. Totally nothing wrong with that, but that's sort of what my scrapbook is going to be for, at least in my plans right now, is that all of my photos and bigger pieces of ephemera will go into a scrapbook. This is sort of just a place to jot down my thoughts as they're happening. I wanted to have a place for that, to just be able to sit down on a train or on a plane or whenever I have a downtime to write about what's life like in this moment. What is, I can write down what we did at a later time, but what am I experiencing right now while I am in this new place? So that's sort of my plan. That's my journal/planner for traveling. I don't know where this charm came from, so we're just going to attach that right here. Okay, so now we have all of the journals that I have been working in recently. It might not look like it, but I am working to simplify this system constantly. But I'm also not putting on a whole lot of pressure because this is supposed to be fun, this is supposed to be functional. As long as it's both of those things, there aren't really any rules. If you have any questions or even just any thoughts or ideas about my journal system or journals in general, absolutely please share them in the comments. I love to chat about all this stuff. If you can believe it, considering I've spent all of this time just talking about journals. My goal for myself right now is really just to get it down on paper. Whatever it is, whatever kind of thought or plan or dream, whatever it is, just get it down on paper, because every time, seeing it in front of you, it's I don't know, I like it. I like being able to see my thoughts and rearrange things physically a lot more than just getting stuck all up in my own head. So if you want to talk journaling, I'm all ears. I'm ready to chat. But in the meantime, thank you. Thank you for listening to me yapping about journals. Thank you for yapping with me about journals. Just hanging out here in this space. It has been so much fun. Go forth, go out into the world, and document it. And I'll see you next time.